Leeds United 3, Coventry City 0 in a pretty dominant, solid performance by Leeds United to get 3 points back at Elland Road today. As I say, a solid first half performance was enough to give Leeds points, followed by a second half defensive solidity, which was enough to give Leeds a clean sheet, another clean sheet at Elland Road, and give Leeds 3 points and set the record clean after that defeat to Burnley last week. The first half, it opened up. Leeds had all the chances in the game. Didn't take an awful lot of them. They weren't necessarily clean-cut chances, but Leeds are playing with more tempo, more speed, and moving the ball a lot quicker than they had been against Burnley and over the last couple of weeks. Coventry in the second half, though, came out to play. Played into Leeds' hands just a little bit, leaving some space for Leeds to get in behind. Some smart moves at the right time were enough to give Leeds opportunities to finish off the game and get a second and a third goal in the game. Not an easy or straightforward game for Leeds today, but enough in all aspects of the pitch to win the game 3-0. And to be true, Leeds could have probably scored a fourth or fifth if you start to clock up the chances that came during the game. The game opened in the first half with Norwich pretty much squaring up face to face with Leeds, which at that moment in the game I felt was a very good sign for what was going to come for Leeds. Leeds need space to play in, and if you give us space, we'll take you apart. And Leeds did that today, probably still in third gear, not necessarily second, but definitely in third gear today. But then Coventry decided in about the 13th minute, Coventry just started to back off and back off and back off, and it got worse and worse. In the 16th minute, Nanto scores a goal for Leeds United to give them the reward for the good attacking play and good pressure Leeds have been putting on from the front line. Really good work from Brendan Aronson. Gets the ball to Junior Firpo very quickly, whose straight square ball across the edge of the box is enough for Willie Nanto to smash into the back of the net. We talk about tempo and we talk about moving the ball quickly. What Brendan Aronson does in this move is exactly what I talk about when I talk about tempo changers and having players in the team and on the pitch that can make an impact at serious times. Aronson could take touches here. He doesn't. It comes into his feet. It's gone straight away into Firpo to get him into the best position he can get into as early as possible as well. Then it's a great square ball and it's a very nice shot from Willie Nanto to give him reward of what was a very, very good first half for Willie Nanto. An excellent first half from Brendan Aronson for me as well. After that, Leeds had chances on the 25th minute, 26th minute, 29th minute and 33rd minute, all without scoring. But again, they weren't necessarily clear-cut goal scoring opportunities. There was a couple in there they probably could have done a bit better with. Then the 38th minute, there's a bit of an incident. Ethan Ampadu goes smashing into a 50-50, wins the ball. Jaden Bogle has a chance. Joseph's involved before the ball finally breaks from Ilya Groove. Long-range effort that's just about saved on the line from the keeper. But Ethan Ampadu eventually gets back up from that injury, but will go down again and does come off and replaced by Ao Tanaka in the centre of the park. And up until that point, Ampadu had been a really, really good game. Himself and Groove in that midfield too were cutting off the play an awful lot higher up the park than we've seen Leeds do in recent weeks. They were intercepting breakouts in the opposition's half, which stops counter-attacks from happening, which stops the opposition getting up the park earlier, taking pressure off. All of that was great work they were doing in there. And then this injury puts it in your head of, well, will that see Leeds drop off now in the second half? And it didn't happen so much at all. Ao Tanaka came on, but Ao Tanaka was the one that was chosen to sit in the more deep-lying central six position, while Ilya Groove had a more advanced position. Another very good game for Ilya Groove as well. 49th minute, Willie Nanto has a chance along with Jaden Bogle just after the 45th minute. So two chances in injury time as well. And you thought Bogle's making a lot of the right runs today. He's getting in positions. If he keeps doing it, he'll get a really good opportunity to score. Second half, he did that and didn't have to wait long. Just in the start of the second half, 49 minutes on the clock. Ball's played around, goes in, and a lovely pass, weighted pass from Largi Ramazani, who had an excellent game as well today, into the front of Jaden Bogle, who side foots the ball across the goalkeeper. Keeper could do better from it, but doesn't. Goes into the back of the net, leads 2-0 up. And then from that point on, not really a whole lot else happens in the match. It's pretty flat. It's a bit sloppy, it's a bit scrappy. Coventry fighting to try and get back into the game, which you would expect them to do. Leeds fighting to hold them off, which they did pretty well. A very good defensive performance from Leeds, especially with the concentration levels, keeping tuned in throughout the second half was very important. But as I said, not an awful lot happened. But Leeds were doing very well to keep their shape, stay organised, stay tuned in to what was happening. In 69th minute, then Leeds United make a change. Joel Pirro comes on for his last 20-minute cameo. That's becoming a staple of his season so far this year, and he adds another staple of his season this year by scoring in the 78th minute. Took him less than 9 minutes to register his third goal of the season. And again, good movement, good work in the build-up leads through to Joel Pirro getting a lovely tap in the box box. Again, the keeper probably could do a little bit better than he did, but not enough to see off the goal, and it goes in just by his side. And Leeds get a 3-0 win. In 92nd minute, there's a long range shot that's deflected, and then Amelie has to stay tuned in and on his guard to make an excellent save out of the top corner that would have seen Coventry get a goal back into it. But enough then at that point to see Leeds roll out to win the game 3-0. Very comfortable game in the end. Coventry offered more than Cardiff did, but ultimately not really enough in enough dangerous areas to really prove troublesome for Leeds United. Leeds effective in the areas when they needed to be. 3 different goal scorers again, spread out over 2 halves. Another professional performance from Daniel Farke's side, which we shouldn't be getting surprised at seeing at this stage. The big things for me in this game were Leeds moved the ball a lot quicker. I say tempo an awful lot, and some people think I mean running around an awful lot, which I don't. I mean moving the ball quickly as often as you can, and Leeds did that very effectively today. In the first half, I thought they moved the ball very well from left to right. They were quick to get the ball across the park. There's no problem moving sideways, as long as you move it sideways quickly and you change the angle of attack, and Leeds did that very, very well today. The subs that came on today were asked to come on at times in the game and make an impact, and the bulk of them did. Out Tanaka, a good performance in the centre midfield, playing in the deeper role of the two, but very, very involved. And if you think about Joel Pirou's goal, it's an Out Tanaka bending ball forward from midfield that's kind of a pass out of nothing that sets Jayden Bogle away before the squared ball in for the goal from Joel Pirou. So he makes an impact in the game as well. And then we see Rothwell and Byron come off the bench in the last couple of minutes to be involved. But Joel Pirou scoring his goal, getting involved in the game, all doing what they have to. A very strong performance, even with players out injured. Leeds is still looking quite strong. The bench still looks decent enough compared to what it did look like this time last year. In the game also, we have the injury of Ethan Ampadu to worry about. Is that a long-term injury? Played every minute of the season last year. Had a bit of a knock last week when we went into a tackle and goes into another 50-50. And it's the second 50-50 he's gone into and not come out of well. And hopefully it's not an injury that we need to worry about. He didn't start the season well for me, but in the last 2 games he has been getting better and better. And we're seeing the better version of Ampadu that we saw at the start of last season and starting to get a grip of that midfield. You want to see that partnership continue. It may now force Leeds into a situation where people get what they want. They get to Tanaka in midfield, whatever version of that partnership it ends up being. Tanaka, Gruev at the moment, but Gruev being the higher of the two. But I think that will change over time. And then Joel Pirou is just all around the impact of the game, comes onto the pitch, no sulking or moaning because he's not starting the game, comes on, does his job, scores his goal. 3rd goal for Leeds, 4th goal involvement in 7 games for the player. Leeds move up into 5th place in the table. Defeats to West Brom as well will help Leeds United, and just have a quick look to see how the rest of the games finished off today to see where it will leave Leeds come the end of today. The final scores all just starting to come in now. If we look across the park, we see West Brom losing to Sheffield United, which is a huge one for Leeds United. Sunderland losing 2-1 to Watford as well means that the top of the championship is starting to change. It's look, Leeds move into 5th position in the table. 7 games played, 14 points on the board, and a +8 goal difference, level in 4th place with Burnley 1 point behind Blackburn in 3rd, and then only 2 points off West Brom at the top of the table. So plenty there for Leeds to be positive about going into the next couple of games. We've got Norwich coming up midweek, then we've got Sunderland. Taking points off them will also be helpful for us in terms of opening a gap. Then the international break kicks in again and hurts everyone for a couple of weeks, and then we come back with Sheffield United, which will be a huge game for Leeds. But these next couple of games could be very important to signing up what Leeds the rest of the first half of the season could look like for Leeds. Going through the team, Meslier, very little to do, was tuned in when he needed to be, made a good save when he had to do so. Both centre-backs both played very well for me today. Full-backs as well, probably the best game Jayden Bogle's had so far, attack and defensively, both very, very good. Firpo, excellent again. 2 old midfielders, we'll start off with Ampadu and Gruev. They were fine, both more advanced, both playing very well before the injury. And then Tanaka, Gruev midfield was fine, barely noticed him on the park in the second half, which is a good sign there. Both wingers very involved in the game. Willie Nunto, really good game. Larry Ramazani looking like a real live wire for Leeds. And then in the 10, Brendan Aronson, who was swapping over quite a lot with Nunto. Nunto on that 10 looks really good for me as well. Very involved there as well. And then Mateo Joseph, not the most involved he's been today. He's going to get these tricky games. He just needs to get through these spells and come out. And then Joel Pirou coming off the bench and scoring, doing really well. Out Tanaka as well, getting his opportunity today and playing really well. So plenty to be happy with across the board there. A good, solid professional 3 points. Another clean sheet for Leeds. 5th place in the table. And we march on into Tuesday night's game away to Norwich. I'll be back on Monday morning, folks, with the news and the Monday evening panel with Jerry McNamee for the review of the game with a bit more detail on the bones. But there's your initial review of the match. Have a great rest of your day and weekend, and I will talk to you soon. See ya.